call on Senator Peters now for his questions.
Yeah, thank you, Senator Curtis, and thank Ranking Member Cantwell for deferring. I appreciate that. You know, as the senator from Michigan, I have long focused on issues related to autonomous vehicles, and I believe that today, more than ever, Congress cannot continue to stand on the sidelines when it comes to AVs. First, we know that this technology is a huge part of the future of the global automotive industry. But right now, as has been said, China is investing heavily in dominating the autonomous vehicle market. So I believe it's absolutely imperative that we take action to ensure that American innovation and American standards lead the way on the world stage, and not China. Second, it's a matter of protecting good-paying American jobs. Congress cannot be silent on a technology that will literally shape the future of mobility. Automotive jobs have been at the heart of my state of Michigan and our manufacturing economy for over a century, and we need to ensure that those jobs stay here in America. And finally, and most importantly, as has been said, this technology will save lives. Today, more than 100 Americans die on our roadway each and every day. As we sit here today, 100 people will die today. And we must do everything we can to harness solutions with the power to bring that number as close to zero as possible. But that also requires building trust. Americans deserve to know with certainty that these vehicles will deliver safer streets and that federal regulators have laid out clear rules of the road. The bottom line, it's up to Congress to do something. And that's why today I'm calling on our chairman and my colleagues on the committee to work with me to make that a reality. And I'm calling for a bipartisan AV title in our next surface transportation bill. We can't wait any longer. With that, I got a couple questions. First, Professor Smith, you and I share the position that it is both avoidable and unacceptable to have 40,000 deaths on our roads every year. And I believe we need to harness every solution to that problem, as evidenced by the hearing that I held on this issue last year. And I believe that AVs are certainly a part of that answer. However, even autonomous vehicles will not be perfect. We know that accidents will occur. And I believe we should assess those incidents against the larger backdrop of our extremely dangerous roads today. So my question for you is, in your opinion, how should legislators approach the idea of relative safety when it comes to AVs, and why should we not be satisfied with the default level of danger that we see on our roads today?
Thank you, Senator Peters, because the current level of carnage is horrific and is preventable, and we know how to prevent it. And so with automated driving, we have these two different frameworks that are kind of in tension. One is the car framework. Can we save one more person? The other is the aviation framework. Any crash is a failure and unacceptable. And so automated driving is essentially this challenge of shifting from that first paradigm to the second. And so in assessing the safety of any crash, right, we could ask, well, did the system perform at least as well as a human driver in the equivalent scenario? Did it perform at least as well as a competing technology? And importantly, did it perform better than the last one that failed? In other words, we can't have static standards. The bar has to keep going up.
Great. Well, I thank you for that answer. But I'd also, Mr. Chairman, like to enter into the record an op-ed from a neurologist published in the New York Times about his experience with car accident victims and how recent peer-reviewed AV data is too promising not to pursue. I think it's important and would like to enter that in the record.
Without objection.
One of the key reasons I believe Congress must act on autonomous vehicle legislation is because AVs represent a huge part of the future of the U.S. Automotive industry. We need to not only make sure AV technology is developed here, we also need to make sure these vehicles and their sensor suites are manufactured in America as well. Michigan auto workers have led the nation and made the U.S. automotive industry internationally competitive, and I believe they can do the same for autonomous vehicles. Mr. Pena, Waymo currently does import vehicles from China to pair with its software stack. And I'm glad that you're moving away from this partnership. But from your perspective, how can Congress better ensure that AV companies prioritize U.S. manufacturing and union labor when it comes to building the vehicle's hardware of the future? And is this something that aligns with your company's vision of the future?
Senator, we design and build our autonomous driving system right here in America. And as I mentioned before, we use a variety of platforms, and we install an autonomous driving system onto those platforms in our factory in Arizona.
Great. Time is low. Mr. Chairman, can I just ask a question for the record, and appreciate that. Mr. Farah, some of your automotive manufacturing members, including Michigan's own General Motors and Ford, are driving consumer acceptance by introducing consumers to high levels of autonomy in their personal vehicles, including, as you know, hands-free highway driving and more. That includes the goal of introducing level 3, hands-off, eyes-off driving technology for consumers to deploy when they choose. This way, autonomous technologies are delivering safety benefits in personally owned consumer vehicles today. Neither NHTSA nor Congress, though, has established a dedicated regulatory framework for level 3 systems. What do you think are the greatest regulatory gaps today for Congress to fill the level 3 deployment? I can enter that for the record to respond unless you have a quick response.
With the indulgence of the chairman, I would be very glad to elaborate on the response for the record, and certainly level 3 is an important piece of automotive technology, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to thank you for all of your past efforts on behalf of the AV industry.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We welcome any other responses afterwards as well.